Hey, my name's Stan. I'm co-founder of Tability. This is going to be an end-to-end demo to show you how you can turn your Claude instance into a set of teammates. So what I mean by that, to explain this, right, it's like if I think about my personal use of Claude in 2025, it was really about using Claude to help me do one thing. So I'm ever like writing some code, or I'm drafting an email, or I'm working on a spec or some projects, or looking at data. But it's like basically everything is scoped to what I'm doing right now, right? So I can only work on one thing at a time. But it's an amazing experience. Like I've been like so much more productive. Like it's amazing what it can do. But you still have this constraint of, if you're not there with a prompt and going back and forth with the AI, nothing gets done. So you're limited by your own ability to be present. Whereas like what we're talking about here is that in 2026 now with Claude Cowork and the way you can use it with Tability is that you can turn Claude into not just one teammate, but like a set of teammates that are working while you sleep and doing a bunch of things. And it's not just that in terms of difference. I would say that, when you think about the help model, you start with a task. You have to be present, as I said, but it's like really, that one thing at a time. So you're talking about building a feature. You're talking about looking at one data set, drafting one email. And so this new model that I'm talking about here, you're going to start with something a bit bigger. You can give it a goal. You can say, for instance, I want you to increase retention. I want you to fix the conversion rate on a homepage. And that's the goal, right? You don't have to go into the detail of how you're going to do this. Like this is going to be figured out by the AI. And you will manage the agents, manage the teammate like you would manage like a team of actual people. You're going to give feedback. You're going to, look at the work that they want to do. And this is something that is hard to do in Claude itself, whereas like Tability is designed for it. The other thing, right, is like this is like unlimited upside in the sense that instead of you having to be present at all time, you can schedule a bunch of goals, set a bunch of goals, assign it to the agent, go to sleep, wake up, and then a bunch of work has been created for you. Okay, so how does this work? There's basically two parts. And so the big thing here is to treat Claude not as a place where you're going to go and prompt and do all the work, but more as like what I would call the AI infrastructure. So this can live on a Mac Mini in your office, like right now it's like sitting right next to me. And this is where, one person has to set this up. So if you have someone that is super comfortable with Claude and understand how to set up the skills, all the tools, MCPs and stuff, then that person just has to do it once for the entire team, which is another way where it scales, because if you have a team of 50 people, you only have to set up that infrastructure once. Whereas like if you wanted everybody to have access to Claude and the skills and all the tools and stuff, you have to set it up for each user. Now, the Tability layer, this is where collaboration is going to happen, right? So this is where you define the goals. This is where you create the agent profiles, which is kind of like hiring someone, where you put the task, where all the reporting is going to happen. And so this is like, if you think about it, right, it's like we're really talking about treating agents like you would work with actual humans. And the best way to do this is to basically use a platform that is designed for that. So without further ado, let me show you how it works. So what we need, Tability here, this is my sandbox, my Claude instance, and this is going to be, this is a Google Drive folder, but I'm going to give it to Claude so that if there are docs that are being written, I just want it to be stored in a place that can be accessed by the entire team. So this is where all the agent stuff is going to happen. And this is what is going to run the infrastructure. So let me just show you how it works. I think it's going to make more sense like in a second. So what I'm going to start doing, I'm going to create a plan, agent plan. This is going to be where I'm going to start the goals managed by agents. And here, my objective, I'm going to keep it simple. Achieve great GTM. And then my goal here is going to be like send 20 awesome newsletters. Now, one thing that is going to be different in the world of agents is that you need to spend a bit more time explaining what you mean here. Whereas like with a team, you can probably get on the phone and then just call them and then, get on call, like on Slack or whatever, and then talk with a team and explain that. But here it's really important for us to explain this in better terms, because that's what the agents are going to use to do the work. So I'm just going to say this goal is about making sure publishing 20 right newsletters. Oh my God, for Tability users this quarter. Feel free to look at Tability's blog at tability.io/ODT. And I would say, and the changelog here. Changelog. But if you can't access content, just use your best judgment to find interesting topic. Now, this is the general thing. We'll track progress, the initiatives, and you should only count the ones that are done. Done as a completed newsletter. Okay, I hope it's going to make sense to AI. Now, what a good newsletter look like? I'd say one an article with 400 words. And then 3 links to other interesting articles published on Tability. Okay. And 1 promotion, maybe. Okay, so what does it look like? How to track. And then I'll put some rules to follow. Use initiatives to track the newsletter work. When creating a new initiative, always put it in a backlog state. And then I would say only a human can only create the newsletter content if a human, and maybe we'll let agent manage this. Okay, so only create a newsletter if an initiative. So this is annoying for you to see me typing so slow, but I want you to get the full experience of what it would look like if you created this yourself. So only create a newsletter content if an initiative is moved into planning. And then only a human when the content is created, move it to the review state. Okay, only a human can make an initiative, can mark an initiative as done. Okay, so that's my description of my objective. I'm describing the thing. I'm going to maybe give it some feedback later, but in this case, that's all I want to say. So I've got my goal, I've got my plan. So next, I need to create an agent that I'm going to attach to the initiative. So let's go to the agent here. And so what an agent is, it's basically a thing like this that has an activity where you can, a dashboard is going to have a configuration and some install instruction. So I'm just going to copy this here as a start, but I'm going to create the agent from scratch. Or let me not cheat. I'll just do this. I'll call this one newsletter agent. And then I'm going to write it again. And so sorry, this is going to be annoying. You're going to see me typing. So the job description is like let's think of it as you hiring someone new on your team and you want them to do a job and you have to explain to them how you want them to do that job. So here I'll say you're a marketing specialist in charge of, I won't put anything, you're a marketing specialist. Your job is to work on active OKRs and initiatives attached to you. If you have to write some content, store it in the drive folder. Store it in your drive folder. Do we need to say anything else? I don't think so. I think we can. I'll just put it again here if you don't have access to. Actually, no. That's it. Marketing jobs to work on active car attached to you. If you have to write some content, store it in your draft folder. So what I'm trying to say here is like I wanted to use this if it has to write on stuff. And so instead of a newsletter agent, like this really could have been just like I'm just going to rename it. I'm going to call that my marketing agent. Okay, so content marketing agent. Now the installed instruction. So first you need Claude and Tability MCP server to be connected. I've done that. It's not hard. You can do it. It's like 1 minute. But now what I need to do, I'll just copy this prompt here, and then in Claude Cowork, I'm going to create a scheduled task. And that's going to be the heartbeat of my agent. So I'm going to call it marketing agent heartbeat. And so what that means is like we're going to use that to basically run the agent instructions. And we then decide, the frequency. So we're going to run it on an hourly basis, work in a project, to choose a different thing. I'm going to choose my folder here. That's this folder. So I gave it a folder. And then I don't want it to ask for approvals. I want it to be able to do everything it wants. And that's it. So we're ready to go. This is going to then run on an hour. But before doing anything, I need to just attach my key result to my agent. So I'm going to find it into my agent plan and this goal. So everything is ready. I have my goal here. I have my agent attached to it. I have my instructions here for the agent. And so now we can just go. Like I'm going to open this and just run it now to see what the result is. One thing about it's here. So one thing that you'll notice, so when you set this up for the first time, like I like to do basically to stay present, because you might have to run this a couple of times to figure out what works, what doesn't, because sometimes, and this is more like a Claude setup. It's like, does your Claude, if you say, hey, I want you to go to the internet and find things, is your Claude able to do this? If you wanted to have access to Ahrefs or your Salesforce account, etc., you might have to run this a little bit to make sure that all the tools can be used the right way. But now what you're seeing here is like the agent is what it did. It basically found its profile. Now it's searching for the outcomes of the key result. It should have found one, and now it's looking at the check-ins for it. And soon we should see it starting to work on whatever has been described here. So let's see what happens. All right. So this here, the way you have to think about it like you working with this is like this you would not even see normally, because you would just do this, assign it to the agent, and then on the hour, you can't. I don't think you can do like a schedule, like do this, make this happen more often. But every hour, like the agent will come and then look for work to do, and then if he finds anything to do, it will start to work on that. So now, and this here, what this is, it's almost like you can think of it as the agent logs. So if you want to investigate, what has happened and how your agent is working, then you can look into that. So now it's creating the initiatives. If I load this, I don't know if we'll see anything. Oh, there you go. All right, so I didn't wait for it to finish. Like one thing that it will probably do is to write like a check-in as well for itself. But here you can see that it has starting to write some newsletter topics for us. So if you don't know what Tability is, like we're like an OKR tracking platform. Like that's classically what we've been doing. Now we're doing a lot more agentic stuff. But the type of topics that I didn't tell it like, hey, I want you to write about OKRs, or I want you to write about strategy, etc. I said, hey, write something, use your best judgment to find interesting topics for our customers. And this is really good. If I look at the content that has been like scheduled here, this is actually freaking amazing. Now, this, I don't want to look into this. I want to use this, right? So I would actually, my phone just beeped, which means I probably got a notification, which would have been this one. And so this is the update from the agent. So current state 020 newsletter publish, action taken this round, review the outcome, see the backlog, confidence in green, full quarter ahead, etc. Impeccable. Now, this looks great. Okay, so newsletter edition focus on helping team run soft goals into measurable key result. Yeah, why not? Why not? Be supporting links. Maybe one thing, what I'll do is here, let me just go to your blog, and I'm just going to grab free links, and I'm going to just say here, I'm going to move it to plan state and say, cool, work on this, and I want you to use these free articles as the linked content after the main post. This I haven't done this before, so I don't know how good this is going to be, but if it's just even slightly able to do that, like I'll just be like really like this is the future. Okay, so I've got my thing, I moved it into a planned state. So now I'm just going to force the heartbeat, but this is basically what I would have to do. I would do this now, then I would move on to do some other things. Like I don't have to spend my time just managing this marketing agent. I can just give it feedback. Now I'm going to go back to the runs and then create a new run. So that would have happened like sometime later, but at the scale of you having like a busy day of work, it means that you can your agent does a bunch of things for you within an hour, and then you can come back and do these kind of things, right? It's like work on the content, look into the thing, like adjust a brief the same way you would give feedback to a person. So now let's close this. This is also what the agent dashboard is going to look like. So I can see the key result, I can see the task that it's working on, and the confidence on it. So now let's just checking what it's doing. So normally it should find the outcome, but also maybe find the initiatives under the outcome. So this is actually interesting because I think one thing that I did, right, is like I said, hey, when I describe the agent, I want you to work on initiatives and key results. So when you see outcome here, it means like key result, it's the same thing. But I said things that are attached to you, and the agent attached itself to the initiative. I didn't do that myself because that's the thing I was thinking about it. I'm like, oh, I forgot to attach the agent to the initiative. But when it created the initiative, it automatically said, hey, this belongs to me. I'll be the one to take care of it. So I to choose 10 left explicit feedback. He wants 3 specific links used. This is exactly what I want. So now I think this is going to take a bit more time because it should normally, there you go. You just saw the marketing agent drive folder that just got created. And it's now even used later. And now it's probably doing things. So I'm cheating here, right? Because I'm looking at it. But the way it would happen is like I would get a notification on my phone saying like, hey, the agent has worked on things. Okay. Well, let me see. Let me just refresh this. Like normally I should see that initiative being in a review state right here. And if I do it here, so the draft is ready, newsletter, an article, blah, 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 blah. And that's good. And so what I want to do, for instance, I wanted the agent to give me the link. And here it didn't give me the link to the thing. I can find it here, but so the next time, one thing I can do is to just go to agent configuration. If you have to write some content, store it into your draft folder, and make sure you link to it in your updates. That's as simple as it, right? Like I looked at the result of its job and I'm just not happy with it. So, well, I'm happy with it, but I just wished, I had the link to that. So if I just open this with Google Drive, because that's what I wanted. I wanted the link that would have led me to this. And so now I have like the markdown file for my newsletter that I can, if I wanted to have like a different version, I wanted to have a Google Doc, like same thing. I can just go back and fix things and say, hey, next time, can you please write a Google Doc? And so this is my main article and stuff. So actually, let's do that. Let's do it with you. How much time are we in? 22 minutes. I'll try to keep this like under 30 minutes, but just to show you how quickly you can start managing this. And again, the difference between this and using Claude directly is that someone else on the team could come and say, well, actually, I'd like to change stuff. Instead of having to use my Claude instance, they can go through Tability to run that content. So if you write some content, make sure that it's docx. Yeah, make sure so to store it in your draft folder. 3, I'll link to it in your status update. Okay, done. Making sure this is good. Yep. Okay, so I'm just gonna save at this. I'm just gonna mark it as done. And then communication, another great idea. Okay, so let me just move this one. I'm not gonna provide the link just to see the difference. Move it to plan state. So now it can pick this one up. And I'm just gonna, again, just like trigger the heartbeat right away. Sorry, you have to wait. That's a part that I find difficult in these demos. I'm tempted to just like accelerate everything so that you can just skip through. But if you're looking at video, you can probably like just skip through to get to for a moment that is important for you or relevant for you. But again, this is like, I treat this as a log. If I'm a dev by nature, so this is a much better version of having to read at application logs to try to understand what it's doing. Like I can see what's happening in real time. The other OKRs in plan state. Need to create newsletter content for it. So now it's looking at this. Let me first check its comments. So one thing you don't see here is that the way the agents are set up in Tability, there's the tip of the iceberg. That is what we're doing when we're creating the profile and when we're setting up the agent instruction. But there is another part that you don't see here, which is that when the agent talks to Claude, or when Claude is like getting the agent instruction, we actually have like system prompts that are added to make sure that in most cases, like you won't have to do a lot. Like it's going to try to do things. So for instance, one of the things that it does is like it doesn't try to create like 100 initiatives. We've kept it at 5 by default. Of course, you can go and say, hey, I want you to create like 10 to 20 stuff. But there's a bunch of different things that there you go. So it's creating a docx, but there's a bunch of different instructions that are added to just make sure that everything is going to go as smooth as possible. And one such instruction is to say, if you work on an initiative, make sure you look at all the comments. Make sure you take into account like the feedback that the humans have given before you start working on something. And so here, and this is now, okay, so this is like an interesting bit, right? Because I think it's like using some JavaScript to create the content of a docx. And that's where someone, as I said, if someone had like great Claude Cowork skills and knows plugin and everything that can be used properly, you would be able to make that like easier by just giving like more tools to your Cowork instance, and then everyone on the team will benefit from it. So that's the docx is created. So now what we're going to do is double check that now to make sure that everything's done. I should have like a comment with a link to my initiative. Okay, well, it didn't do my comment. This is not what I wanted, but so I think this is something I managed to do like in a different thing. But yeah, it wouldn't be too hard to get it to actually like insist on it. Like make sure that you link to the Google Doc. And so if I open this in Google Drive again, now I probably will have something that is a bit easier to, there you go. So something easier to write, like content is easier for me to just implement it. Is this real content? I don't think this is real content. Yeah. So this, it hallucinated this, right? So this is the type of thing that you need to do when you work with an AI. But if I give it access to our blog, I think the content is blocked to agent, but it would have been able to read the content like this. But this is exactly what I want, right? Because now I have like a setup where I can give goal to that marketing agent. I could create another goal, which would be to say, give me some social media ID campaign and things, or like take care of our Twitter account. So there's no limit to the amount of things that you can do. And now I have a place where I can really track progress on my goals. One constraint we have here is like we ask agents to only write like one check-in per day. But tomorrow when it's going to, again, like work on this, it's going to look for the number of issues that have been marked as done, and then it would like move this from 0% to 20% progress. Okay, that's it for today. So this is how you can manage agents. So let me recap things a bit. So if you want to be able to really scale your team and scale your effort, and what I mean by that is like instead of you having to work in Cowork all the time and having to set up Cowork for 50 people on your team, you can set it up once, and then you can connect it to, you can create or hire agents in Tability like this. You can have a growth agent, you can have like goal planner, copywriter, dev agent, etc. You can create as many profiles as you want. And each profile can have like a really specific job, right? And once you have a job, then what you can do is to give it access to goals. So if you have some ideas, or if you want to implement this together, I'd be super happy to get on the call with you and to show you how it's done. But yeah, this is it. This is how it works. And this is like a great way as well for you to be able to track that work instead of having to go back to, you know, all the threads that you created on Claude and try to find the right session and start it over again. Okay, so I'll stop here. What 30 minutes? Hope this was interesting for you, and would love to talk to you if you want to see a live demo of this, or if you want to implement this in your Tability instance. Thank you.